Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulation.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Oh.
Yeah, fortunately what everybody says. Everybody, welcome to the Detroit Cast. Powered by dealsinthed.com. Mike and Jay, Shalom. Hello, Jay. Do you mind if I scoot a little closer to you, Jay? I'm not a little uncomfortable today.
To answer your next question, I'm fine. In fact, I'm better than he is. He's in a stew this morning.
I am not in a stew.
Oh, boy.
Full
Here
stew.
we go.
Tired. God.
Throwing some
Here we
carrots and
go.
potatoes. He's in a stew.
I just don't feel safe. It's not that I feel unsafe sitting right here next to him, but I felt
What a
safer.
ridiculous remark.
Since the moment I
And a
walked
statement.
in, it's been tense.
Yeah, it's just been a tense room. I'll tell you where it started. He walked in, didn't say anything to anyone, and
You weren't even here when I was here.
Hold on.
Who was I supposed to say hi to? In fact, that's not true. I didn't say hi to nobody.
See?
I said hi to your cat, and then I walked down here.
Back up. Go back to the weekend when he got no sleep.
Yeah.
This man's short of sleep,
Yep.
and he's cranky.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
He's
really.
cranky. He didn't get enough last night.
Well,
and he's cranky.
I got what probably would for most people would be the healthy. I mean, you're supposed to technically sleep 8 hours a day.
Yeah, but dude, for the prior 72
I know.
hours, you hadn't slept
That's
any.
my point. Well, that's all I could sleep.
But you, as a professional, that's going to be transparent to the listeners and your colleagues, isn't it?
You
What
know
you
what?
do
That's
on the
ridiculous.
weekend,
No.
transparent to us.
That's ridiculous. It wasn't, though. I didn't do anything. You guys, as usual, just decide that I'm in a stew. And
Well, that's
if I
your
were-
version of events. Can I say?
And when
Can
you
I
say-
speak my piece? Can I tell you my version of
Wait,
events?
wait. And when he says, when you go to a job after a weekend, you know what? If I worked at the freaking Meijer or just pushing papers in the office, no one would even talk to me. I'd just sit there on my computer.
How about if you worked in a job where you did talk to a lot of people,
But you know what?
thousands of people?
But you guys brought up that I was in this situation, not me, and I wouldn't have done
What
that.
if?
Well, then
You
maybe
can just feel the tension in the room. That's
it's
all.
funny.
E.
It's very funny when we feel like we shouldn't mention like the idea of telling everybody that I'm a stew. It would have been transparent to them if you had not mentioned it.
That's not true.
Yes, it is true.
Because no, you're being short. Is
Yeah,
what you're being.
it's very
E.
short.
You're
I'm
being
not being
short.
short.
You are. I came down here. Here's what happened, Jay. I'll tell you my side of the story. I came down here. I was like, E, if you wouldn't mind, would you please
God, here
do
we
me
go.
a solid and pull this audio? And he was like, what audio? And I'm like, just this little thing I
my
wanted
Lord.
to play later on the show.
Another
if
one
you
of those
wouldn't mind. Just
mornings
Woe
where
is
you're
me.
walking on eggshells.
if you can't find it, just let me know. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. But if you wouldn't mind, and he's like, fine. And it was like, oh boy. And so I went upstairs and I came down and we were getting ready to lunch. So at this point, you've walked in and he was just kind of kicking shit and fucking grumbling over there. And I simply turned to him and you were
I was
bearing
here.
witness to this. I simply said, E.
This is so irresponsible
You know what,
of you.
E? I hate to even bring this up, but are you okay? You seem like maybe you're in a mood. If there's anything I can help you with, please don't
fucking
hesitate to
liar.
ask. And then Jay was like, I was feeling the same thing. E, if there's anything we can do to help, and you were just like, fuck both of you guys. Fuck both of you. Did you not say fuck both of you
This
guys?
is so irresponsible.
Are you gonna lie to people and say that you did not
well,
say
you've
fuck
already
both of
made
you guys?
5 lies yourself, so it doesn't matter. This is so irresponsible of you because these people believe all these little words you say when you think you're doing a show, and that's just wrong. But am I a little bit tired today? Yeah, but you know what?
Are you claiming you've been wrongly portrayed in a false light?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
100%
Jesus.
You're claiming
that.
defamation? Were
Yeah.
you defamed?
Yes, I would say that.
E, do you admit that you're short of sleep and you're cranky?
I admit that I'm short of sleep.
Okay.
And?
I do not. Again, dude, I could have had 50 hours of sleep. Anytime Mike just decides, I don't know if he's having a bad day and he wants to transfer that onto me.
Having a great day. to be
Okay,
honest with
well,
you. Great day.
anytime
I can
you
attest
just,
to that.
Oh,
I pulled up. He
one of
was
those-
dancing in the
I was
driveway.
I was doing a jig in the driveway.
Fine. Okay.
He's doing the moonwalk. Then
I was.
the worm.
I was doing the jigaboo
You
in
know,
the driveway. I was dancing the jigaboo in
I
the
will
driveway.
tell you this, dude. I've been doing this for almost 4 years
Call
now.
back to the
There are
Cleveland.
very few days when I come in here under the notion that I come in listening to music in my car, always excited to be here, and I almost always, I'll say 90% of the time maybe there's 10% where I am not. But then if you decide to just for whatever reason say I'm not in a good mood, yeah, I don't like it when people tell me how I'm feeling. You're right.
Jesus does live a pan-like life,
I
so he
understand
should
that.
be happy every morning. But
Well-
when he's short of sleep, goes into a stew, he gets cranky.
I apologize, E, and I forgive you for lashing at me. I apologize if I misread the room. I still say that, to Jay's great point last week, at this point, to me, you look like someone who should be in a pot with some broth, carrot, and potatoes. I stand by that because you are in a stew.
Probably.
There you go, short of sleep. Hey, the most incredible deals of the year only happen once, and that's during Zott M59 Chrysler Jeep's Black Friday sales event going on right now. During this once-a-year sales event, you can lease a new 18 Chrysler 300 with heated leather seats, heated steering wheel, 8.5-inch touchscreen, and all-wheel drive at just $279 a month. See all the details and surf their massive inventory at dealsinthed.com. Get there.
You know what? I do need to get some of my. I'm going to do it today. I'll message maybe one of them and see if they would email in, because I believe that because a lot of the other Turtle family drove home yesterday, and I sent a link, and I believe that they listened to like the first 20 minutes of me describing it. So I need to maybe get one of them to email it and see what their perspective of my analogy and your guys'
They're probably like, we got to listen to Dad. We got to listen to Dad.
Our father image is on the talk show. Hey, Jay, you finally watched City in the Sky.
I did. I watched the first episode, most of it. It was interesting, man.
Yeah.
It was way more academic than I anticipated.
Yeah. It's a Netflix.
PBS.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, but it's a PBS documentary on what goes into the world of flying, and it's called City in the Sky. E watched it, and then I watched it a couple weeks ago, and we haven't talked about it because you wanted to see it too, and I'm glad you did. What a fascinating look at the behind the scenes of like what happens when from the time you pull up at an airport till you land in your destination city.
You just do what you do, and you always wish it's faster. Like you check your bag, like, oh my God, there's a line. Oh my God, TSA.
Why
isn't this plane already off the ground? And you don't even think about how much goes into it.
It's frankly amazing that it works the way it does, on schedule most of the time. Amazing.
You're talking
it has to. It has to be perfect. For the most part, it has to be perfect. Just your bags getting to their destination alone is just
especially if you have a
incredible.
layover. I mean, the layover aspect where you live in Atlanta, now you're going somewhere else. Your bag has to go from that plane
goes to a holding
to
spot,
another plane,
takes a nap.
and it's like, dude, sometimes you have a 45-minute layover. Like,
yeah,
that's
they exposed two of the biggest systems in the world. One,
Atlanta.
the Atlanta hub airport, which I think they said is within 3 hours of 80% of the U.S.
Right.
You can get to Atlanta within 3 hours.
Yeah, and it's the biggest airport in the world.
Yeah,
in the world.
And then they
I was
also
shocked
talked about
at
the Dubai baggage system, which is state of the art and amazing. And
how many miles did they say that track was?
I don't.
Was it 80 or 8,000? I can't remember, but it was like something absurd.
I thought they said 80 or 85.
Okay. Miles of just winding track that
showing
your
these
bag
little
goes
trolleys, this trolley holding a single bag, just zipping around. It looks computer generated. Like, really, that's a real picture I'm looking at as these things whip by.
And those are under the airport, right? Isn't that all underground?
Yeah.
And it's just like it digitally knows by the 10-digit code on your tag, like where to go, when it needs to be there, and just incredible.
And if you get there too early, it'll put it in waiting, bring it out when it needs to be out. It's, amazing.
And it's right. I don't think they've had any problems. But the thing was, you've got this massive facility of track, and it's like if anything goes wrong, if one piece of the track breaks down, they've got 10 minutes to fix it, or it fucks their whole system up.
Yeah, they have teams of little Oompa Loompa dudes down there, and they're like, track number 19, section 3, and they book over there with their little toolbox, and they quick try to get it going. And if they, like you say, if they don't get it within 15, they're fucked. But they've never had a shutdown of the thing apparently. And it's moved more than like 4 million.
Pieces of luggage a year or something. Some of the other things, because they focused on a lot of things, just like airport food and how much food needs to be made, and taxiing and just everything, getting you seated. It's a really in-depth look that you wouldn't imagine. But some of them, like the airport in Siberia, that gets almost no traction, but it's regularly, what did they say, like 8 months a year? It's just like blistering cold and minus 50 degrees outside. And so an airport lands, and it's like they have, how many minutes did they say?
Dude, it was
either
10
or 25 or 40. I can't remember, but they have to run out. There's some guy, some guy in Siberia has to run out there and cover the tires with this like heated. It's like this blanket that uses the heat from the brakes from when the plane landed to warm the tires. Otherwise, they'll just freeze and crack within minutes. And so these guys got to run out there in a team of Oompa Loompas and cover the tires and cover the engines and all
Thank
this
God
shit.
for Oompa Loompas. I'll tell you what.
And then when they load the plane, it's like, all right, it's like a NASCAR team changing tires. They run out there, they pull all this shit off, and then it's like, all right, you got 10 minutes to get off the ground, or it's all fucked.
And then the fuel system, who thinks of airplane fuel, you know?
Yeah.
But they show how all that shit works, and
jet fuel
in Europe in particular, where it's all stored in Belgium, and then they have this underground system that was built during the Cold War of like 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
With the idea that had there been a war, they'd be able to get fuel to warplanes, and so it's just this.
Or just how much they use.
This web under the ground. Nobody really knows where it is, you know?
Yeah.
And fuck, dude. I mean, that shit I never think about. I just show up and
Yeah, here's my bag, here's my ID, let me go.
why is this so expensive?
One of the other ones,
Yeah, I know, right?
the fucking Lukla Airport in Nepal.
I didn't see that part.
Holy shit, dude. I think it's the base of Mount Everest. Okay, so you've got like these massive mountains. There's no GPS. There are 25 pilots on the planet who are licensed to fly into this airport because you have to like swerve into the. They said it's the most amazing flight in to this area to land at the base of Mount Everest. And so these guys like come around. It's the most dangerous airport in the world, and like you can't see the airport until it's right on you. Like you're coming around a mountain, and the whole time your airplane is going pull up. You know,
You just have to ignore it.
yeah, you just have to ignore it. It's going, object in way, and it's a mountain. It's a mountain. And they're like, pull up, object in way, whatever it is. And so these guys, this guy's just like no GPS, no nothing. Has to figure out how to land this thing and get on the ground. And there's all kinds of accidents and deaths there, and just incredible. The other one that lastly, and we won't talk too much about it, was Bangor, Maine. The airport in Bangor, Maine. Did you get to that
Haven't seen
one?
it, no.
Okay, that might have been I thought that was in the first one.
No, it was right at the end.
Was
of
it?
the third part? I
Oh,
think.
shit.
Well, no, it was in the second part. It was in the second part.
It's the northern and easternmost tip of America, right? And so you've got this Bangor, Maine. It does hardly anybody goes there, and it's a massive, massive airport, huge, and it's there. It's the most emergency-bound airport on the planet. They said because flights coming from the Middle East or Europe, anything, it's the closest stop they can make. So if there's an emergency in the air,
They're putting her down there.
we're going to Bangor, Maine. That's the closest spot of land we can get between, from the Atlantic, over the Atlantic. So anytime someone's got chest pains on a flight or anything, they're putting her down in Bangor, Maine. And so you've got this basically empty airport for the most part. It's empty. It's a ghost town.
Just servicing emergencies.
But it's there basically for emergencies. Yeah, it's a fascinating documentary. If you're into flying at all, you'll have a newfound respect for what pilots go through and
it's
what.
well done.
Yeah, it's.
I think they said, and granted, just their opinion, but like, out of anything that humanity has done, like I think since like way in the back, like it's one of the most impressive things that we've been able to do. That flight has turned into as easy as it is, and as efficient as it is,
reliable
and
as
as
it
safe
is,
as it
and
is.
safe as it is. How about the Airbus 380?
Oh, my gosh.
A380? Like, is that the one they build in like France?
France, Spain, Great Britain, and Germany
Yeah, because
all partner on it.
they I don't.
Because it's like a $21 billion enterprise.
And so these countries paid, and so they gave them each a piece
Yeah.
of this. And so they're showing this little town in France, and they have to shut down the neighborhood like what, once a week or once a night, every night?
Once
Was it?
every couple of weeks, they bring through this massive hog of a fuselage
Yeah.
into the final assembly plant area in
Yeah.
France. And, Britain brings in the wings, Spain brings in the tail.
Yeah.
And Germany does, I think, the main fuselage, and then France puts it all together.
And so you've seen those like on the freeway, caution, wide load, and someone's moving a house. You can imagine what it's like and how tight of a fit it is to take a fuselage of an Airbus 380, the A380, which is, I don't know, the world's biggest plane or something, or one of them.
Passenger plane. I think they
Passenger
said,
plane, yeah.
How does
And
it relate to the Spruce Goose?
I do not know.
and drive it through these little towns in France, and make these turns, and just incredible. It's called City in the Sky. You can see it on Netflix if you've got that.
Hey, got to tell you about the Hamlin Pub. They have 5 locations: Clarkston, Chesterfield, Rochester, and 2 in Shelby Township. Hamlin Pub offers a wide selection of craft beers, most of which are brewed here in Michigan. They have great happy hour specials Monday through Friday, 2 to 6. Half off appetizers on Monday. Check out all their specials at all 5 locations at HamlinPubs.com. Hey, did you see Merk Leibovitz, our buddy and sponsor hitting up the Hamlin Pub with an event over the weekend.
Oh, good for
doing,
I
doing
did.
his part.
I did see that. I need to talk to him, by the way. I'm glad you mentioned him.
What did he? What an event?
Yeah, he had a family event booked it at the Hamlin Pub. So thank you to Merck for doing that and his family.
Absolutely. We should mention too. I think Jay, you sent out some of the teasers.
Yeah.
For our event coming up on the 30th. God, those are awesome.
They are.
Can we say thank you to Stacy Gingras one more time?
Sure.
God damn, dude, she does some good work. She did the photo shoot she did with us.
They're really cool.
The idea was that we wanted to do something special for the November 30th, kind of going into the holiday season party that we're doing. It's our last event of the year, probably the last time we'll be as a team out in public for a while. And so we've got this kind of Thursday night, November 30th at 22 and Hayes Hamlin Pub, and we'll be giving out these posters, these holiday posters featuring all of us and kind of our take on Christmas, I guess.
Yeah, it's not the picture of Mike that went around. We're going to send out some teasers, so to speak, of these things, but it'll give you an idea of what the final poster will
look
depict.
like. Yeah, and that's the only place you can get it is by showing up there. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, but hopefully some of you can join us out there, pick up the poster, and have some
hang with us.
Yeah, have some
Yuletide
drinks.
libations.
Sure.
Hey, speaking of Merck, how much money will you need in retirement? Asks Merck. Are you sure you won't outlive your money? Having a plan today means you can adjust as your life changes. Retirement doesn't have to be a mystery. Contact Mark Leibovitz at LPL Financial today to learn the answer to one of the most important questions for your retirement. Call today, 248-626-2000, and ask for Mark.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Jay, is the reason that you and I don't just whip our dicks out in front of random strangers or
We're not animals, yes. that's the
grope
reason.
them? Is it just that we lack the level of power? Is that what it is? Because I'm
I don't care how much power I had. I hope to think, I believe it in my heart that I wouldn't do that shit.
See, here's the thing, though. You don't seek power. Like I've told you, you would have made a great politician. The first thing I realized, oh, fuck you. Not a chance.
Ugh.
Like, you have no interest in that. But you're a reasonable guy. You're smart, funny. Like, you're
thanks.
charismatic.
I'm blushing now.
Yeah, of course. But you would. You're a good leader, all those qualities. But you have no interest in like, clawing your way to the top of that
I'd rather
mess.
lay low, have a good time.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, creepy comedian. Those guys are usually fucked up anyways. You can understand how they get there. But George H.W. Bush, it's just like, dude, how does that guy...
Are we unwilling to go feely old man like you wanted to go early on? I mean, not that you wanted to defend him with that, but you were saying, look, this is a thing. You know, I've heard from nurses that say just old men get this thing.
Yeah.
Are we unwilling to go there?
We are, because
Okay.
a sixth woman has now come out and said he groped her as a 16-year-old
Oh,
girl.
H-dub.
And he was not in his wheelchair then. This is back, let's see, in 2003. This is the picture in question. Now, you can't see his hands or anything, but
That son of a bitch. What are you getting out of that, man?
I don't
What is your
know.
end game? Because honestly, dude, anything like sexual like that, are you just, you have this incredible spank bank or what? Because otherwise, a dude, the sexual activity is stroke it to completion.
Yeah.
I get it. If your penis is being stroked to completion, I understand that, and I understand that's what you're after. But, dude, putting your hand on a chick's ass and going, making some joke in a picture, what is your end game?
I know, but there is something to, you know, you hear women say, like, on a crowded bus, guys will just, like, walking by, just, like, brush
But,
up
dude,
against a titty or an ass.
If
like,
you're not finishing, I don't understand what you're getting out of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to defend it, but
you must have an incredible spank bank. You must
Yeah.
be banking that for later and going, oh, that chick I rubbed up.
or is
on
it just
the
like
bus."
I just want to rub up against that titty just to see what that titty feels like? And
Yeah,
it's,
but
it
where's
goes
that gonna,
away.
Where's
It
that going to get you?
I don't know, dude. I'm not doing this. I'm just saying, like, we've heard about this before. I would love for girls to email us and go, dude, you guys have no idea how often this happens when someone brushes your butt at a bar or your titty on a
guarantee.
bus.
But I come back to the same thing. I mean, unless you're getting that sexual release as a guy, all you're doing is teasing yourself, and I don't understand how you don't get that,
Keep that up there.
after the age of 16.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not going to finish here, why am I even going
Well,
here?
look at his. This is the exact moment that he grabbed her ass.
Yeah, he's
according
kind
to
of
her,
got his mouth open like
he's kind
"Ah."
of. He's like,
There you go.
ass.
There you go.
Her-
She's 16.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What
Her
a
name is Rosalind Corrigan. She says Bush was then 79, and he squeezed her buttocks. This is back in November at an event in Texas. She was attending an event with her dad, who had gathered with fellow intelligence officers and family members to meet the former president. So that's her mom in the picture also with her.
Now I got you.
She was standing next to Bush while taking this photo with her mom, Sarah Young. As soon as the picture was being snapped, on the 1, 2, 3, so, on the count of 3, he dropped his hands from my waist down to my buttocks and gave it a nice, ripe squeeze.
That's creative.
Yeah. And so you look at his face. It looks like he's in the middle of a nice, ripe squeeze,
He
doesn't
does,
it?
and it looks like she's like, ha ha, whoa.
Yeah. She said, which would account for the fact that my mouth is hanging open.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
Did he do it to her mom, too?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. It's weird that they never do it to 60-year-old women or 50.
Yeah.
It's always that, sometimes they shoot a little young, 16, but it's usually that, 18 to 30
What a
age
creeper.
group. She was like, I was like, oh my God, what just happened? My initial reaction was absolute horror. I didn't say anything. What does a teenager say to the ex-president of the United States? Like, dude, you shouldn't have touched me like that. Her mom, she told her mom as soon as she got out of there. Her mom was horrified, but her mom was like, yeah, it's the ex-president. Like, what do you do? Especially back in 2003,
Right.
I mean, am I risking my husband's job in the intelligence community by saying anything? But she's like, if it was just some Joe Blow, I would have gotten in his face and done something. But
My wife's really going to be upset about this.
George H.W. Bush's people, remember they sent out a thing. It was like, he likes to pat cans occasionally, and he loves his joke. Who's my favorite magician?
Yeah.
David Copperfield, which is a great line. I'm not going to take that from him. But yeah, so they sent out another note today, the statement. George Bush simply does not have it in his heart to knowingly cause anyone harm or distress. He again apologizes to anyone he may have offended during a photo op.
Here's the problem, though. Again, okay, so she comes out now. What are you gonna do? To George to him?
Yeah.
Like what are we gonna do
I
with
think
George
the
W.
public
Bush?
shame is
The public shame.
That's just good enough.
Because up until now, he's had a squeaky clean image. The Bushes are, I think, once G-Dub got out, I think people calmed down about him.
Sure.
And he, looking back, is like, he was a bumbling guy, but he was, a pretty good guy, I think, character-wise. He was very well known for going and visiting troops and spouses of fallen heroes and so forth. And so I think he was. They both get this. They're perceived as very sensitive and warm people.
Military, very pro-military, and I understand there are a lot of people who hate George Bush. They think he's a war criminal, and taking us into war in 2002, whatever it was,
under false pretenses.
Yeah, it was bullshit. But you can't deny that September 11th, 2001, that guy really. It would have been very easy to point fingers and make this a very unsafe country for a lot of people. And he did the exact opposite. He really pulled people together, and the country as a whole rallied around him as a leader.
The problem is, Mike, the people you think the people you're talking about that hate him as much as they hate him also think that he pretty much did 9/11. So they don't really care whether he...
Some of them, yeah.
That's a sliver of the population, man.
Anyway, going back to this chick, she explained when she heard
You really
the
think
statement,
that's widespread?
I think that the people that hate him as bad as they hate him I think more of those people do have that thing than you think. I really do.
That he caused 9/11. That's such an extreme view.
It is. I know what you're saying.
I really do.
The people I was talking about are the Eddie Vedders of the world, and people on the left that just think of him as a warmonger and made up. Or his team of people made up
WMD.
Yeah, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq to take out Saddam, that kind of shit. And so, but yeah, there's a very small.
I guess I just think it's more than it doesn't matter. That's fine.
So this girl was really upset when she heard how.
Go back to your Stewie.
Jesus, look at that. Here I try. I'm trying to step in, get an opinion.
So she's like, yeah, when I heard him say, like, look, he's in a wheelchair. It's harder to get his hand, around the waist. And, he's old and, I didn't mean anything.
She's like, bullshit.
She's like, when I heard that was the reason, I was like, oh, he's just an old man. He doesn't know any better. He's just harmless and playful. It's just where his arm falls. I burst into uncontrollable sobbing. Really? I cannot sit with that. I can't sleep anymore because it's not true. It's not an excuse. She became even more upset when she watched, I guess, First Lady Laura Bush former First Lady Laura Bush, gave an interview to Megyn Kelly last week or something. And was
Megyn
like,
Kelly's still on.
Yes, Megyn Kelly is, yes. She said,
NBC's trying to squeeze that $125 million out of her.
yeah,
Just keep it going, whatever.
Shoving fucking popular people in there. So Laura Bush was on there and was just like, yeah, it's just sad we've come to this. That was something that was very, very innocent that he's been accused of, but I know he would feel terrible. She said she was floored when she saw that on CNN or heard her statement on CNN about these incidents. I was actually there to be taken seriously, and that's her big thing. She's like, look, I went there to be taken seriously, and I figured this guy, as the leader of the free world, if nothing more, at least he would take me seriously. And nope, he was just there to grab my butt.
That sucks.
That does
offensive.
suck.
And that is shit that us three will never experience or comprehend.
Yeah.
And like you started the story saying, like how many women, every woman could probably tell you a bunch of times where they walked into a situation, felt uncomfortable or flat out harassed. Or, I mean, you've seen the stats on how many women have just flat out been raped. It's remarkable. Man.
Yes, it is. It sucks because I think there's some false stats out there. I really do. There's a lot of people who'd say that it is outrageous to think that 25% of women on college campuses are raped. It's not true. The numbers are not that high. And I can't remember why that is. I probably shouldn't have even said anything. But there's people that highly dispute that fact. Because you hear that a lot. That 1 in 4 women on a college campus.
I'm not talking about college campus stuff. I just remember throughout the years seeing, and I can't point to a source, but seeing numbers that just like floored me. Like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
1 in 4 women really have had this sort of experience, whether on college or not. Whatever the numbers are, it's too high.
Yeah, it's tough because there really was kind of an attitude. There's been a massive change in attitude because it wasn't that long ago. I mean, shit, when we were in school, it was like if a girl was like, it's too soon. It was like, I haven't worked hard enough to talk her into it yet. You know what I mean? Like that was just kind of a thing people did. And now it's like if there's any hint of someone saying no, you fucking get out of there. You know what I mean? Or get your consent letter
Yeah,
signed.
I remember the consent letters we covered several years ago.
And maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that for the protection of people out there.
Seriously, guys have to be thinking that way. Single dudes out there.
Yeah. Louis C.K., one of his announcers, one of the chicks that called him out, Rebecca Corry, talked to Good Morning America, and she kind of elaborated a little more on that story. She was like, yeah, it was kind of common knowledge in the comedian world that Louis was like this, but until I saw it firsthand, to know it was true, that was kind of devastating. But she says they were working on a TV show or a pilot for a TV show back in 2005 when Louis came up to her and was like, got kind of in her face and was like, hey, can I ask you something? He got really close to my face. Can I ask you something? And I was like, yeah, sure. What? And he's like, can I masturbate in front of you in your dressing room? And she was so shocked. She
like nervous chuckle.
Well,
joking.
She said the executive producers for the show were Courtney Cox and David Arquette. Okay, back when they were a couple, they were producing it, and so she went to them and was just like, "What the fuck?" And she says they were great. They were very supportive. They were like, "Let's shut down production." Blah blah blah. And she's like, I don't want to shut down production. There's all these people working on this pilot. She's like, it's so few and far between when you get these jobs. It's not easy to get. Like, I didn't, he asked if he could jack off in front. I wasn't willing to. And I don't blame her for that. Like, I wouldn't either.
Well, and he knows that's the context of the request, too. He's a creeper, but he knows, I've got the power here, and she's not going to want to upset things.
She says, looking back, I would have shut down production now. I don't know, but she says he called her about 2 years ago to apologize. Was like, yeah, I'm really sorry. And she's like, I think this happens more with him than we're aware of because he said something about, that time I threw you in a closet. And she's like,
that wasn't my experience.
You're talking about someone else. Is it time for Louis to just come out and announce he's gay? Like, is that the move here?
Oh, right. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, see if he can get
like
in
Spacey tried to do?
Yeah.
Change the subject.
I keep thinking about Louis, and while awful, let's be honest, I don't want to lose Lou. I don't want to lose Lou. While awful, nobody is saying that he didn't ask. He did it. Is it? He did ask, hey, you mind if I pull my dick out and jack off on?
What about the girl, though, he just wrongly described as pushing into the closet? What about that girl?
I don't know who that was. That girl has not come forward. At this point, these are unsubstantiated rumors. Conjecture and whatever you
It's not even a
call it.
rumor. It's something that he recalled out of his own mind
Yeah.
when explaining himself to this chick.
Well, according to her, though, I mean, it's not. It's just you have to take her word for it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a but I wonder, like, is that under any circumstance? Like, if you walk up to a girl, I guess it's in the
If she
context
says,
of work.
yeah, go ahead, cool, I'm into that.
At work, probably still a bad idea.
Definitely a bad idea at work.
I don't know what kind of power he had on the set. It doesn't sound like he was an executive producer on that. It sounds like Arquette and Courtney Cox were. But is that totally out of, like, to go up to someone and go, hey, do you mind if I jack off in front of you? That's totally over the line, right?
Are you, like, really asking me this? I mean,
Yes. Can you do? Because you could do that to a chick on the street. Just
Yeah.
ask her, and that's no problem.
in the context of an employment situation, yeah, that's really inappropriate.
It's very inappropriate.
But yeah, I mean, if you're, dude, I think it's not an unreasonable thing to request in a consensual sexual relationship. Sure,
I agree.
Whack off in front of you. Sure,
Well-
feel free to go at it yourself. Get that bean going. Get the speed bag going.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's ramp things up. Because the reason I ask is because he's got those other. Remember the two girls that first came out against him? I guess they were a comedy duo.
Yeah.
And that was at like the Cannes Film Festival or something. And these comedians tend to run in circles. And so it wasn't under the guise of anything sexual. It was just like, hey, fuck, we're out here. Why don't we hop up to my hotel and have some drinks or whatever? And they're like, sure. And so they're sitting there together. And then he walks out of his room butt naked and was like, hey, do you guys mind if I jack off in front of you? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. Kind of laughing like he's not serious. And then he literally jacks off in front of them, and now they're horrified and all this. And people are calling him a monster, but I'm like, it's not like they were on the set of some movie. I mean, they were.
Didn't they consent to it?
I mean, they basically, maybe were uncomfortable, but I don't know. Maybe I'm out of line.
Wasn't
even
their story,
suggesting
though,
that, but-
afterward? I mean, they claim, of course, to have felt very, very uncomfortable. And then I think he and his team went a great distance to try to silence them when they tried to kind of go, we're creeped out by that. I'm not sure we want to work with him, or you should know about this. And the manager took off and
I think
started trying to silence him.
Yeah, I think word got back to Louis' manager. I don't know if it was Louis K.
K.
I don't know if it's that one. There was another one, too. Word got back to them that these girls were talking to people about it.
And so a big campaign to shut them down was launched.
Exactly. Keeping in that context, George Takei.
Yes, George Takei.
Oh my! He's been accused of this from a former male model.
From like 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. I guess Takei was like 44 or something, and this guy was like 20-something, 25. And met him in Hollywood. The story goes that this was his name, Brunton, Scott Brunton. He was a waiter or something at a restaurant, and they exchanged numbers and were kind of running into each other, probably at gay clubs or whatever.
Of course, George Takei is famously Sulu from Star Trek, and completely out gay dude who's been on Howard Stern a million times.
Yes.
Flamboyantly gay.
Yes. And funny about it. You
Yes,
know,
Howard.
Oh my, hi boner. But was closeted for a long time. When he came out flying,
Raging.
I mean, he was just like a giant hard-on coming flying out of the closet. Is what
He
I was.
flung himself out of the
Oh,
closet.
he sure did. So this guy was like, I broke up with my boyfriend, and George was very good at consoling me. And so he took me to the theater, to a restaurant and theater, and then was like, yeah, you want to come up for a couple drinks? And the guy's like, yeah, sure, why not? Thinks he's just buddies with him.
Yeah.
And they go up there, and he said, I start to have my second drink, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling dizzy, like I'm going to pass out.
Roofied that son of a bitch.
And George is like, oh my, have
Relax,
a seat. Really,
relax.
oh please, have a seat. And he says when he came to,
Oh, well, George is not a selfish lover.
no, when he came to, for some reason his pants were around his ankles, and George was really wrestling, fondling his dick and balls, and really trying to get those underwear off. And the guy's like, what the
What an animal, dude.
And he's like, oh, stop. Shh, you need to relax. You just need to relax. And he's like, finally, this guy gets his wits and like gets George off and pulls his pants up, staggers out to his car, and just like,
George is like, you're in no condition to drive. He's like, I don't care. I'm out.
Well, he went and like laid in his car for a couple hours until he like came around again, you know. And so George is just like, oh my, I don't remember any of this. I don't remember him at all. And this guy's just like, look, dude, all I want is an apology. I'm not looking for anything from you. Just some acknowledgement. And George is sticking by that he doesn't know anything. I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know who to believe here, but if you listened to audio from George Takei, who was on Stern's show just a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, George doesn't help himself when the subject matter of like Harbinger Weinstein comes up and people in powerful positions and groping people. This is right around the Spacey Weinstein time.
Yeah.
And so Howard's asking George about it. And, well, I got a piece of the audio here. Go ahead.
Did you ever grab anyone by the cock against their will? Oh, no. Well, they were different times.
Or something?
You never sexually harassed anyone.
Hey, boner.
Hold on, pause it. Hold on. Okay, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. That hey boner right there was
It's
a
a
drop.
drop.
It's a drop. And so when you,
You
hear
can't put in drops of people on the show.
No.
Rule number one.
people do it all the time to us. They write us and go, "Hey, E said something would make a great
gotta
drop."
pull that. This is
like-
the only one we own, and it's the only one we'll ever use. It's right here.
I guess I'm attracted to a dude.
Yes.
That's the only one you'll ever hear on this show.
Yes. And so that's why there's no drops of me when I've said stuff or J or E because you go,
Very
wait,
confusing.
it gets very confusing when you hear the same voice say something. And so that hey boner was a drop. There are a couple others in here that will sound out of left field. So pay attention to the conversation. Go ahead, E.
Have you?
Oh my goodness, you've got such a beautiful
Oh,
cock.
dear.
It's some people that are kind of skittish,
Right.
or maybe afraid, and you're trying to persuade. But you know,
Do we need to call the police?
What is he saying, Howard?
What are you saying, George? In other words, they were but you never held a job over someone if they didn't.
no,
give you
no,
a
no,
cock.
no. I never did that.
Oh,
No.
I see.
Were
What did
these
you
Yeah,
do?
that's what this
work
is all about.
situations, though?
It's about. It's not about sex. It's about power.
Right.
I see.
It's about power.
It's kind of about
But
both,
you didn't
George.
do this grabbing at work.
Oh no, no, it wasn't at work.
Oh, good.
It was either in my home.
Oh,
They
okay.
came to my home.
Well, that was an open invitation.
So what do you mean? Like there'd be some guy who was hesitating to have sex with you, and then you gave him a gentle squeeze on the balls or something?
More than a gentle. But it wasn't. That didn't involve power
I see.
over the other.
Yeah.
So this guy listened to that and then comes out and goes, yeah, I was one of them, basically.
I don't know if he heard that or not, but people, they're going to do that. They're going to go and troll your work. They're doing it with Louis C.K. They're going through everything he's done stand-up-wise and looking for anything about jacking off.
Yeah.
And they're posting it. And so with him, he's made so many appearances about gay shit and, like, over the years on Stern Show that it would be easy to go and find every interview he's done there and him talking about, being whether in bathhouses or going off into the fucking, what did what's his name do? George Michael. He was in the
Rest areas.
yeah, like rest area. Like there was
Glory hole type situations.
yeah, and George back in the '80s when it wasn't prevalent to just go be gay wherever, that's what guys would do. They're gonna meet up in the dark somewhere, and so there's all kinds of stories like that, and I imagine they're gonna troll a lot more for George Takei, but he's. George has kind of been self-righteous, which is the worst part about all this. Like Don Jr.'s been trolling him a little bit because he called out Ivanka Trump on Twitter like a year ago when she was like, God, she said something like, I had no idea how vicious and monstrous the people would be when my dad got elected. Like I just had no concept of that. It surprised me so much and blah, blah, blah. And so he tweeted something at her like, oh, yes, you're the victim or something like that. And Don Jr. was like, yeah,
Took exception.
maybe you shouldn't be calling out victims, George, and stuff like that. So who knows where that story goes, but anyway.
It's always the same and always different. There's always a bunch of naked guys having a wonderful time together.
There's a couple guys that I heard. Charlie Sheen is famous for not having... Charlie Sheen is famous for not having a morals clause in his contracts.
Really?
And word on the street is that Kevin Spacey didn't have one for House of Cards either.
Winning.
And so now, the situation, sources are saying that he didn't have a morality clause in his contract, which could trigger a suspension or termination based upon personal actions. So this is kind of getting into your wheelhouse. I'm wondering what your take is on this. But
I'd need to see the contract.
Yeah, okay.
That's going to be my answer.
Well, let's just pretend you've seen the contract, and we'll just make it up.
You know, I get tiger blood, man.
So anyway, they according to them, his contract states the only way he can be suspended or fired from the show.
This is Kevin Spacey Fowler we're talking about.
What's that?
This is Kevin Spacey
Yes,
Fowler?
Exactly. The only way he can be fired would be if he becomes unavailable or incapacitated to fill his obligations with production. Spacey is not unavailable. He's checked in. He's riding horseback and
but he can show
playing
up.
lawn jarts in Arizona right now as he fixes himself. And so Media Rights Capital is the production company, and sources close to House of Cards say that the initial allegations surfaced at the end of October. A letter was sent to cast and crew asking anyone to come forward. A bunch did. Spacey's team believes production was fishing for other cases to use against him. Media Rights Capital did admit there was one prior incident, and so Spacey's team is like, yeah, you knew about that incident, so you can't use it against him again. We're told if the show ends up officially cutting ties with Spacey, he will be owed a fortune because it will essentially be termination without cause. It's essentially backwards what Netflix and production how they went about dealing with Spacey. It's akin to fire, ready, aim. Sources at MRC tell us
They might find it worth it, though. You know, Netflix might have gone, fuck it.
Yeah,
it's
worth better
it.
than
Yes.
Sources at MRC tell us Spacey is currently suspended based on a company-wide sex harassment policy. However, Spacey's team says, yeah, he's not actually an employee of MRC, so he doesn't have to own up to your company's sex harassment policy. He's on loan from the company, so the employee company provision does not apply.
Sounds plausible.
Yeah. I guess he could be owed upwards of $12 million, which
But again,
it's a good
Netflix
point.
might have looked at it and gone, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to try to skate through it, see what happens. We'll defend any lawsuit that comes our way. But even if we lose, it's worth it for, court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Get rid of the guy. We look like heroes getting rid of this abusive dude.
Yeah, you probably do get a lot of points from the public by doing that. You're probably right. Have you followed the Roy Moore scandal at all?
A little bit, yeah.
The old man politician.
Yep,
from,
running for Senate, right?
Yeah, down in Alabama. And he's taken a beating, as he should. What is it? There's a couple girls that have come out and said he tried dating them or something when
they're
he
claiming
was in their 30s. And
he had inappropriate sexual contact with them when he was in his 30s and they were in their teens.
Yeah.
I think one was 14.
Yes, and I think another was 16 or something like that. Couple things I take issue with this story. I found it interesting how Saturday Night Live cold opened the show with a full fucking bit about Roy Moore. You know what I mean? Like,
because he's Republican, right?
Right. And because all I could think of was Ed Murray, the mayor in Seattle, who had 5 different men claim that he bought them drugs when they were 15, 14 years old, and preyed on them because they were inner city kids without a father. He paid for their drugs, got them drugged up, and then fucking raped them all.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, that's bullshit, whatever, until his own cousin, family member came out and went, yeah, he did the same thing to me. And that's when he finally resigned. You don't hear shit about that story. No fucking skits on SNL. You don't read about it in the papers. And this kid, he was basically raping children and then leaning on the fact that who's going to believe them? He's a fucking gutter rat black kid from the inner city, and I'm a well-respected member in high standing in Seattle. I mean, that's horrible to think of. And so I'm not saying Roy Moore is in any way innocent. I thought his interview that he did with Sean Hannity was laughable. I don't know if you heard,
see it, no.
Dude. He said Sean Hannity, for his part, really kind of hammered this guy about, hey, is it possible at all that as a 32-year-old you would date a 14-year-old or try to date a 14 or 16-year-old? And he said something like, that would be out of my character. And it was like, what the fuck does that mean, dude? Ask me at 32 if I would date a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
of course
he
not.
already answered, I don't recall that period.
Yeah.
And so maybe he's just trying to be consistent with that. But I agree with you, dude, all the time. Like, it's a straight denial is far more heavy than I don't recall or that doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
It doesn't sound like me. Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound. I don't have a recollection of it, but boy, that doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
That's so much weaker than going, no, didn't do it.
Are you kidding me?
It's flat out false.
And if he would have done that, it would have carried more weight because, immediately people start thinking this is politically motivated, and so they start trolling her shit, and they find out she's like super anti-Trump.
Hillary supporter.
Yeah, I think worked on Hillary's campaign at one point, and so people are like, okay, this is about the Republicans versus Democrats, going to vote, whatever. And so I thought Hannity, I specifically listened to Hannity's interview, the full interview that he did with this guy, because there were Media Matters, the group that's constantly trying to tear down conservative speakers.
He lost a lot of sponsors from that interview.
Yeah. Well, Media Matters is famous for this. They listen to every minute of these conservative talkers, whether it's Rush or whoever, and then they target their advertisers. They go after them and like, oh, this is bad. We're going to tell everyone we know that you support this guy who defends child molesters. And so that's what Media Matters did. They sent a note to Keurig, the coffee company, and was like, yeah, he supports child molesters. You should reconsider your ads. And
Keurig in a tweet is like, oh, thank you for letting us know that.
Yeah.
We have taken action.
And immediately fucking folded and everything. And so now there's a big, a boycott Keurig thing. Yeah. But it's like the sixth advertiser that's gone down for the same type of thing. And so I listened to that interview. And I don't even like Sean Hannity.
And you didn't find it one-sided?
I thought he asked very tough questions, as tough as you can ask, and he held them to account and pointed it down when indiscrepancies came up. He was like, I want to go back to this because this is really important, Roy. Are you saying 100% unequivocally that you would not date? Do you think this is acceptable? If you did, if somebody did, would you think that person should hold a seat of power like you do? He was really pinning him down on stuff. And then coming back from break, Sean said, it's really important to point out because I have firsthand knowledge of this, of being falsely accused of something that, there is innocent until proven guilty. It's not fair to just trash someone's career before you know all the details. That's as far as he went for defending a molestation guy. I mean, it was absurd.
No, and that's a decent point with respect to all of these Harbinger Weinstein, all these stories that are breaking now. Like, pump the brakes a little bit. You know what I mean? Don't just take every tweet from, Judy Miller, about, oh, this guy did this to me. That's truth. I mean, these people, it could be a complete fucking made up lie.
Yeah.
And, people are due some sort of innocence before guilt is assumed. But so is it the left or Media Matters viewpoint then that any commentator that allows an accused a platform to speak, that they're supporting that accused?
If you're letting a Republican accused speak, then yes.
Gotcha.
And Sean, the one thing that Hannity pointed out, again, I don't like Hannity. I think he's pompous and he's too far right.
Total shill.
He's a shill for the right, and he's just a prayer guy all the time. Like he turns me off. But by all accounts, he's not a creep. He's not a predator, and they've tried to accuse him of that at times. But. Anyway, he's like, this isn't my first rodeo, with people being rushed to judgment. And he's like, I think of Richard Jewell, the Atlanta bomber.
That was the classic, wasn't it?
The guy's world was destroyed. And they basically said, well, he fits the narrative of, he lives in his mom's basement. It was like, huh?
Yeah.
And that guy was slaughtered in the public.
Thank God Big E just wasn't in the vicinity.
Ugh. Yes.
Atlanta bombing, right? The Atlanta Olympics?
Yeah. Was that 96?
Yeah, he was just a loser dude, working some security posts. It's like, that guy lives in his mom's basement. He's a loser. He'd do it.
He fits the profile. Of course it was him.
That was before it was the millennials really grew up in a show. It was cool to live in your parents till you're 40. See, now it would just be like, whatever.
No, but I remember he was just like, no, I had nothing to do with this. And everybody's like, a liar! Oh, my God, is he a fucking fat liar?
Fatso!
Loser!
Dick Jewell! Guilty! So he points to that. He points to Duke Lacrosse. He points to Hands Up, Don't Shoot. All these narratives that were thrown out there later proven to be bullshit. And he's like, so, I'm willing to give Roy Moore. Do I think Roy Moore did it? Yeah, based on the comments there, I probably, like, that was really disturbing. He's like, oh, that would certainly be out of my character, and I would never date a girl without getting mom's permission. And even those young girls said that their mom was encouraging them to go out with it. It's like, dude, what are we talking about?
Oh, man.
32-year-old man with a 16-year-old. Sorry, dude.
Oh, Royinger.
Oh, stop it. Anyway, getting off this. There's more, and I don't know where these end, dude. Like, it's getting to the
No,
point.
that's what I'm saying, dude. I think everybody needs to be careful going forward because you're going to see more and more just people taking swipes.
Yeah.
Taking swipes at people they don't like or that are politically
Well,
different.
it's definitely okay, as you guys said. Like Mike brings up the example of a Democratic where he doesn't seem to read about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be very okay if you find anyone that's right-leaning to just start saying, "Yeah, I was molested."
Well,
Yeah.
it's infuriating too because I saw a lot of people when boycott Keurig was trending bigly over the weekend. I saw a lot of people going, "Oh yeah, look at these snowflakes on the Republican side. You know, can't handle it when advertisers decide which is their right to pull out from some guy that they don't agree, blah blah blah, and all that." And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. No one on the right is going to listen to Rachel Maddow and then start contacting in a mass protest nationwide to destroy her and contact their advertisers and boycott. Like, that is exclusive to the left. And that's what's infuriating. It's like, okay, you don't like what's going on. Dude, there were, how many from this last one? Realtor.com, 23andMe, Nature's Bounty, Eloquy, and Keurig all pull out of Sean Hannity. Listen, do yourself a favor. Google Sean Hannity, Roy Moore interview. Listen to it for yourself, and you tell me if Sean Hannity went over the line and advertisers need to pull out from a show. It's absurd. It's absurd. Anyway, Trump is coming back soon. Did you see him? I'm sure you love this.
Yeah, where he's
What is
crossed
this?
his arms and they're holding hands in an odd fashion.
I think I'm too fat to do that.
Really? Oh my! Yeah.
Like,
I think you
seriously,
just proved it.
Like, unless you guys got really long arms, I don't think we can do this. Really, dude.
It's this weird. They're crossing their arms in front of each other and then
Right
they're,
over
they're
left.
linking hands.
Yeah, and
with
so
the person next to them.
it's kind of like elephant walking, but think
Side to
elephant
side.
walking, but with your hands holding instead of grabbing each other's dicks. But yeah, God, I love these two. They're wearing their kimonos and
Yeah, it's great, isn't
oh,
it?
it's so
These
funny.
cultural moments.
I love the Russian Dmitry Medvedev. He's like, yeah, go fuck yourself on the far right. Or
Yeah,
far,
yeah, yeah.
He's like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Nope.
Nah,
Just gonna hold hands.
I'm not crossing my arms. He was the only one
Look at
not
Trump's
to.
face though.
Yeah, he's making the weirdest faces.
So where was he? The Philippines?
Yeah, where you've got Roberto Duterte is the
Crazy
leader over
man
there.
in his own right.
And it's so weird. Like, this guy is slaughtering indiscriminately
The guy in the white smock.
the guy in the white smock, slaughtering and encouraging you. If you see a drug dealer or drug user, kill him. We need to get this scourge of society out of here. And so there's just this campaign.
The war on drugs, man.
It is the war on drugs, and so it's just like, yeah, just murder them, just kill them, and so there are thousands of people, just bullets in their head, execution style, and Trump's like, oh, he's got good plans. The war on drugs,
His heart's
is
in
very
the right
serious.
place. However, the execution may be a bit off.
It's a bit troubling. Someone asked John Kelly, the chief of staff. They were like, "Hey, what do you think of these reports of Duterte just indiscriminately murdering people that are drugs or whatever?" And he's like, "Yep, we're aware of that. We are looking into that." Like, oh,
The world's
good.
a dangerous place, isn't it?
Dude,
God
it's
damn, man.
incredible. He said, "We'll check it out. We're going to check that out. See what's going on there."
Country to country, all these different problems.
Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, the crossbody handshake. I thought you would have liked that.
It's beautiful.
The other Trump-related thing, really quick, is did you see the chick that got blown out? She was flipping off the motorcade.
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Yep.
see that? You saw that?
She's riding her bike. Trump's motorcade goes by, and she just raises her arm in the air, flips him off.
Flips him off. Yes. She was fired from her job.
Where'd she work?
She worked for a government agency called Akima, a government-contracted marketing firm. So a couple days later. So anyway, people have Julie Briskman is her name, and this happened in Virginia. Trump's motorcade was off to a golf course where he was going to go shoot 18 or something.
Yeah.
And so when it passed, the 50-year-old mom of two, flips it off. She's currently frustrated with the administration, blah, blah, blah.
It's her First Amendment right.
Yeah, it's the only way I could get my voice heard. And,
She absolutely has the right to do that. She's not going to be arrested for it.
yeah, and she wasn't arrested
Yeah,
for it.
but her employer can decide, she's at will, I assume.
Yeah, yep.
Her employer can decide that's a bad look and let her go.
She claims she was pulled aside at work and told she violated the company's social media policy, and she was then sent fucking packing. A man named Rob Mello started a GoFundMe, and as of this morning, they're probably over $1 million now, but they'd raised like almost $60,000 for her this morning. But now that it's in the papers, I'm assuming anybody
she'll
that
be
doesn't
fine.
like Trump,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like those bakers, remember, that wouldn't do a gay wedding, and
Yep.
they got like $2 million
Yep.
in a week because the right was like, go fuck yourself, I'm donating to her. My guess is this chick will make a ton of money. Anyway, Julie Briskman is an inspiration to us all. This is what they wrote on the GoFundMe.
Oh yeah, the one side's loving this. Hell yeah! Look at her flipping them off.
This week, we learned that she was fired from her employer for exercising her First Amendment rights. You can show your support by donating here. She's still trying to fight this. She's looking to file a lawsuit. And the thing that people are missing, she did not get fired for flipping off the motorcade. What she got fired for is taking that picture and making it her fucking profile picture on Facebook and Twitter and all of her social media. And the company went, okay, now you've crossed the line. You've made this, you announce us as your employers, and your profile picture now is you flipping the bird to the president. Now you're terminated.
Yeah, it's probably like the hero image, right? And then right underneath,
Right.
works at whatever.
Yes.
Birthday, spouse, blah blah blah. Perfect.
So that's why she was fired. That's why it was 2 days later when she did all this. That's what they took issue with. Not that she did that, flipped them off. So anyway, she's like, oh yeah, well, there was this guy at work, and he saw some chick like supporting Black Lives Matter on TV, and he posted that she she was just showing her support for Black Lives Matter, and he posted that the movement was look at this fucking libtard asshole. And so she's like, he was able to keep his job. And so I think what happened there was management went, hey, dude, can you not do that? And he was like, yeah, no problem. Took it down. And he was able to keep his job.
Yeah.
And so that's what she's pointing to, like, haha, when he said fucking libtard asshole, he kept his job and I was fired.
But she's going to get a lawyer who's going to advance some argument that they treat liberals different than conservatives.
Of course, because that's usually the way it goes.
And that's a protected characteristic under all the civil
Right.
rights laws.
She says this is way out of character. She hardly ever does anything politically motivated or anything like that. There was the one time she was
just impulse, huh?
Yeah, she didn't know what else to do. She was so mad that he was going golfing.
I'll tell you what, dude. I saw a motorcade not too long ago. I think Pence was in town. He was hitting some Auburn Hills auto suppliers maybe 2 months ago. And it is the most impressive thing you'll see.
Yeah.
Like the last thing on my mind, whether it would have been Obama, Hillary, whatever, would have been to flip them off. Like I was just like astounded by number of motorcycles, and all the on and exit ramps are closed off and cops everywhere. And dude, those things whip down with all the SUVs and shit. It's
SUVs
really
all the same.
Neat thing to see.
It's impressive as hell to see. I wouldn't think to flip it off either.
Never occurred to me, no matter who the president is, I'm going to flip these guys off.
She did at one point. The only other thing that she can think of that she did was during the Women's Day parade. She did stand outside the CIA building with a hashtag not my president sign. Not my president.
That's a classic.
That's one of my favorites.
Hey, Amazon. Please use our affiliate links. You'll see our Amazon and Groupon links above the fold at DetroitCast.com. Click on them, shop away. It doesn't cost more. The key is, however, that you click through our links to shop. And with Christmas right around the corner, Amazon is the place to shop. Also, make sure you're shopping MyPillow.com for all your betting-related needs. Use TDC code for the very best discount.
Hey, did you see about the drug sting that went awry in Detroit?
You know, I saw the headline. I didn't read it, though. It was 2 undercover guys who got crossed up.
Dude, this is Keystone Cops, if you've ever seen it. But yeah, it's like there's different precincts, obviously, and so we've got different precincts started a brawl in downtown Detroit. Dozens of officers, they say, were involved. Punches thrown, weapons drawn. One cop ended up in the hospital.
Holy shit!
This happened last week on the east side. You know, not a good area of the east side of Detroit. The encounter started. So you got 2 special operations officers from the 12th precinct. They're working a drug bust on Andover Street, which is notorious for a lot of drug sales. And so the officers were pretending to be dealing drugs. So they're standing on the corners like, hey, hell yeah, man, who needs some shit? And so in hopes that customers would approach them, and then they'd arrest them, seize their vehicle, make some money and
Sure,
shit.
you can follow
usual. Problem started when another group of undercover special operations officers from the 11th precinct approached, posing as buyers.
God.
When they showed up, the 11th precinct officers ordered the other cops to the ground, not realizing they were fellow cops. And so the rest
Nobody
of
got hurt, right?
So
I mean,
the
sounds
rest
like
of
a recipe for disaster. Man.
Yeah, I'm shocked no one got shot. So the 11th precinct guys are like, on your knees, you son of a bitch, taking you down to Chinatown. And so the other 12th precinct guys that are here on the walkie-talkies like, oh yeah, go. The drug dealers or the drug users are going after our cops. And so they come rushing out.
Yeah.
And now it's just fucking on. Haymakers and everything. Big brawl going on. They ended up, like, they were supposed to bust a house across the street, and those people in the house are just like, oh, damn, man, this is crazy and shit. Look at them cops whooping each other's asses. How does that happen? I guess there's body cam of this shit, and they're looking into how this possibly happened. I'm assuming Chief Craig is looking into what happened.
It reminds me of a Point Break scene. Do you remember that? Johnny Utah screws up the one guy's undercover deal he had going. He was living with several members of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think, at that point.
Absolutely,
who were dealing drugs.
Sure.
He was pissed off at Johnny Utah for blowing his cover.
He blew his cover, though, to save his life, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
I mean, if I know Johnny Utah, I would assume so.
I can't remember all the details of that because I watched the updated movie.
You can't do that.
I
refuse.
I know. It's the Keanu Reeves
Doesn't
version.
have Swayze? Doesn't have Reeves?
No.
Not interested.
Yeah, I know.
The Swayze?
The kids of today would get into it, but yeah, so I don't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, let's take a quick break, and then I've got a couple important stories for E. One about the founder of the website Gaydar, and another about
you put him back into the stew.
Oh,
he was
shit.
climbing out of the stew.
No, it's
now
just,
he's right back in.
It's just an interesting story. I wasn't saying anything by that.
Fuck you, dude.
Fuck you, dude. The other's about the Simpsons. E.
Simpson.
Now, you back on board?
Sure.
All right. I need your expertise. E.
Okay.
We'll get to that and more next.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hi, Michael Kowalski here, a.k.a. the Sausage King of Detroit. Everyone knows Kowalski sausages have been satisfying folks for over 4 generations. That's right, my dad's sausages, his dad's sausages, his dad's sausages, and even my sausages have been satisfying customers for almost 100 years. We call that Kowalski quality. So for your next feast, choose Kowalski and just tell them Mike sent you.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Detroit Cast, powered by DealsInTheD.com with Mike and Jay.
Hey, Big E isn't the only fool making news with his penis-softening dance skills and fundraising prowess. Zott Ford's in the game with its red-hot clear-the-lot year-end clearance event on all remaining 17 vehicles in stock. While supplies last, save up to 30% on a new 17 Ford F-150 Super Cab 4x4. It's nearly $13,000 off sticker, or lease that F-150 as low as $161 a month. Surf their outrageous deals and massive inventory at DealsInTheD.com.
Hey, Jay, did you see the Niners got off the schneid yesterday?
Oh, really? They beat another shitty team. Oh,
yeah,
the Giants.
The Giants, who were 1-7, and the Niners were 0-9. Yes, we're starting franchise history. They got to win. Most people are looking at the schedule going, this is probably your only chance for a win this year.
Wow.
So I got to tell you, I love this team. I love this 1-9 team.
Really?
They're just competing at every play. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch a team like,
Are they just
yep,
young?
we suck. We're young.
And untalented?
Most of us probably don't even belong here, but God damn it, I'm going to give it everything I got. And you just see the effort. The Giants look like shit. They didn't have the effort. They looked like a 1-7 team that was like, fuck, season's over. But anyway, that's not why I bring this up. Most people don't care about that. But did you see the Marquise Goodwin touchdown in this game?
In fact, I did. I saw like 3 plays of this game, and this was one of the plays.
Yeah.
Nice heave from Beathard, is it?
Yeah, C.J. Beathard, who's the grandson of Bobby Beathard. Go ahead, Ian, play it. It's like an 83-yard touchdown grab, which the Niners don't have. I think they said this is the first home game they've won on Sunday since 2015.
What?
The last time they won was on like Thursday night or Saturday or Monday or something. I was like, oh, shit, that's incredible.
How's their attendance out there? Do people give a shit?
No, it's not good. No, they're used to winners. Yeah. Brand new stadium, 90% empty. Go ahead, E.
Beathard's very happy Joe is back out there.
And if anyone saw this, it was probably confusing at the time as to why is this guy so emotional. This guy's just a burner, one of those track dudes.
Yeah.
So he does that. He salutes up to the heavens, prays,
kneels down,
and he's
head
just
to
kind
the
of
ground. Child pose. That's child pose for yoga enthusiasts.
Is that child pose? Okay,
Yes.
all right. And so he's just
Namaste.
overwhelmed. And usually when a guy does that, guys pile on top of him and slap around. But his teammates came and kind of just like almost laid down with him and then helped him up. And it was like, what is this guy? What's going on here? Well, it turns out that his earlier that day, his wife was rushed into labor.
Yeah.
And
They lost their baby boy.
They lost their baby boy. And so after the game, he sent out an Instagram with, look at that wee little hand.
Oh, little man.
Look at
little
that
man.
little man's hand. That shirt is way too big for that hand. You can see this. You see the sleeve.
It barely fits.
And then his dad also put a picture out of his dad like holding the guy's finger, kind of like E.T. touching tips. And it was just like, oh, this is so heartbreaking. And so that's why this dude got so emotional. So this guy's just like a hero today. Like
That was the night before that happened, and
dude,
then he
it was
went
like
and played
4 a.m.
Oh God! And then he showed up and played an NFL game.
Yes,
Wow.
and had a huge game, and they won.
Well, the
and,
play right before that he held, but
yeah, but
knocked him back 10
dude, his
yards.
kid didn't make it just a handful of hours earlier. I hope you can let a holding penalty go. It was a nice play, and I was pissed. I feel bad now that I was pissed because I was like, "Fuck Goodwin, damn it." But yeah, so he did this today. So his wife, Morgan, put out on her Instagram, today I had to deliver my precious baby boy early this morning due to preterm labor. Despite our loss, my hubby kept grinding, scored his son a touchdown, and got his first W of the season. We had a wonderful game today. It's just important for us to remember that things happen for a reason. Even though we may question ourselves, our faith is strong. I just ask that you let us mourn in peace and ask that you not try to call and blow up our phones and blah. I'm like, well, don't post it on Instagram.
Exactly. You just called the world's attention to this.
I didn't need to know about this. It didn't make me feel good.
Here's what happened. It's amazing, but don't ask us about it.
Now leave me alone and shit. Slamming the door in your face. Get out of here. Don't call me. Don't
People grieve in different ways, don't they?
I'd like to know what she did in the game. What was her best part of the game?
She's married to him, and we, as
I
a
think
family,
she was saying we won the game, just like you would say we won if the Detroit Lions win.
We had a great game. Okay.
He
She's
did.
she's a fan.
She's married to him. He had a great game. She had a great game. We had. It's a Melinda.
They're
Bill
a unit.
Gates thing.
They're a unit.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Dude, can you imagine?
No.
It'll be great when
I've
if he gets in the Hall of Fame. That'll be great when she's there. Is there a bust of her? Will she be there?
She'll get a gold jacket at least, or wear his. Let it go. Anyway, I can't imagine like.
No,
I've never been a parent. I've
I would
never
not
gone
react
through
that way. I got to go to work. I would not react that
Yeah.
way.
I know a lot of people do stuff like that, where they're just like, oh God, the faster I can get back to. As I can't do you any good here in this hospital room.
There's been a lot of athletes that do that sort of thing. Like, remember Joe Dumar's dad died, I think, during the playoffs one year.
During one of the finals games when they were at Portland.
Brett Favre.
Yep.
Famously did that on Monday night and threw for like 6 touchdowns or something on
His
Monday.
dad,
the same day his dad died. Yeah. Was it Earl Favre? I don't know, something like that. Maybe
Earl Favre, something like that.
Also, did you see Roger Goodell wants a new contract?
Yeah, $50 million and use of a private jet for the rest of his life, right?
For life, and life insurance for his family for life.
Does he realize that a lot of people don't think he's really doing that great? And that's
like Jerry Jones, who's poised to sue the league if they bring him back.
And his sport isn't a little bit of a trouble based on things that people think are his reasoning.
Well, I guess these owners, all 32 of them, elected for him to extend his contract to 2019. And then they've got a committee because they're like, look, 32 owners, can we just like pick 6 and let them decide like what
like that.
contract?
Pick 6.
Yeah, what the value is worth. Negotiate the contract. We don't. All 32 of us don't need to be involved in these negotiations. And so they picked like Arthur Blank from the Falcons, and then some really big names: Robert Kraft, Bob McNair, the Texans owner, Chiefs owner Clark Hunt, Mike's brother, Giants owner John Mara, and then Steelers owner Art Rooney II. And so now Jerry Jones is just like, oh, man, no. I want to say in this shit.
Yeah.
I don't want those 6. We've given this fucker too much power. And
he's pissed about Ezekiel Elliott, right? Being barred for the season, as it turns out.
Yeah.
As he fights his court battle to try to get unsuspended.
Exactly. And so he said that he's getting discretionary bonuses, which are just like massive bonuses that are super easy to hit. Super easy to, like, there's no challenge to it. And he's like, we've just given this guy too much power, and this is bullshit. I want to have a say in what goes on here. So he's talking about suing, but dude, $50 million a year. I was doing that's if you just do it by months, that's $4.6 million a month. He's asking for $4.16 million a month.
Amazing.
And a private jet for the rest of his life.
Like, what is so unique about him that only he can hold this position? You know what I mean?
I don't know. He's the commissioner.
Like, as he just pointed out, the league is on a definite downturn, and in large part because of at least perception that he's not doing a good job.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. Is there a big difference between the NFL commissioner
I think he should just be
versus
happy.
the baseball commissioner or basketball? Adam Silver. I can't imagine Adam Silver, the NBA's commissioner, asking for $50 million a year.
Yeah, but what's the difference in value in TV contracts and so forth? I mean, NFL presently is raking it in, although, you lost, what's his name, the pizza guy the other day.
Oh yeah, for
Papa
sure.
John's.
Papa's out.
There were commercials that aired of his over the weekend. I saw one that I remember. He said he was pulling back. I don't know if he pulled out, but if you break that what he's asking down into the months of an actual NFL season, which is 7 months long, $7.14 million per month.
Yeah.
I just think, like,
okay,
honestly,
it's all relative, dude.
Though.
I mean, this is a business that we can't even get our head around in terms of money, so it's all relative. But I come back to the fundamental question, like, what does he bring that's unique that affords him this leverage to say, hey, I'm worth top dollar? I don't know, maybe he does stuff that
you think
the public doesn't know that's really, really important on behalf of the owners.
I'm trying to think.
He got a really good deal, collective bargaining agreement, right?
Yes, but there were other.
He's got good TV deals.
You've got Pete Rozelle, who was the commissioner when we were kids, and then you had the tall guy after that,
Tagliabue.
Paul Tagliabue. I know because their names are autographed on all the footballs.
Yeah.
So when I buy a football, it's got Tagliabue.
Well, I remember Jim McMahon famously wearing the sweatband with Rozelle across it, right?
Ooh, yeah, he didn't like Rozelle at all.
No, he didn't.
But I think it was Rozelle that they said was really. Really brought a lot to the NFL. Like, he was responsible for Monday Night Football starting on ABC and broadening that thing. And I think he was responsible for the first big NFL contracts. I'm probably talking out of school here. But I thought Rozelle was really big in putting some staples in the NFL that we know today that are massive, that set the table for all that. Where Goodell, I think of Roger Goodell, and it's like, Goodell, goddammit, Goodell. I think of a guy that was willing to turn a blind eye every time a guy beat the shit out of his girlfriend. The drugs. It took years.
There's been
of
a lot of black
problems.
marks on this guy. Everybody's pissed about his the fact that he's been under suspending than over suspending.
Yes,
and the fact that he's losing advertisers and the whole politicizing of the league in terms of
politicization.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I mean, the league is in a far different place than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's been at the reins.
And CTE denying with the brain injuries. And
it doesn't seem like a great
seem like a
time
leader.
where you have all this leverage, right?
I just feel like he should be happy. Like, if they were going to restate him, like, dude, on kind of the DL, kind of like
take
whatever,
$500,000 and
right,
be
whatever
happy.
they give
It's
me.
easy to say, oh, you should be happy, but as a person who's up for a contract, you're going to go for what you can get, you know?
I understand.
I mean, as a
that,
human
but-
being, as a smart human being, when your independent
But you know what? You
contract
can
status
still
comes up,
But you can
I would
still
expect you to do the
can
same.
still be smart,
you and
dude.
your
You
representatives.
can still be smart though and realize, dude, there's some stuff going here.
Right.
Maybe I should
factor that in. It wouldn't appear to the public like this would be a time where you'd have a lot of leverage, but who the fuck knows, man?
TV contracts will come up sooner than later, and we'll see what happens there. You negotiate. I can't imagine you're going to get anything close to what you got before.
I know.
Ratings are down everywhere. And the fact is, all these black marks that we just mentioned, I can't think of anything where you're like, well, you can point to that. Maybe TV contracts, the last ones. But, dude, it was the most popular sport on the planet, or in America for sure. And it's America's sport. And it generated a fuckload of money. I mean, anybody could have I could have gone and worked that deal and gotten huge bank out of ESPN.
we have no context to his claim for $50 million and use of a private jet for the rest of his life. Like, we can't get our heads around.
No, you're right.
The size of that and the contracts involved and the money involved and the incentives and points, you know, at which he hit, and therefore he got bonuses. We can't even fathom that. So it's easy to throw that in a headline. There we go. Fuck me, $50 million. Fuck.
Yeah.
Use of a private jet, but maybe relatively speaking, it's reasonable. I don't know.
Well, when you put it that way, and you look at, say, Dave Dombrowski, a CEO of a team, and then you look at someone like Goodell, and he's CEO of 32 teams. You know, he's the guy that's the front line. It just, you know, I understand why owners would go, motherfucker, you have a responsibility to understand your audience and understand that they are going to be livid that these guys are taking. I don't give a fuck what reason they're taking a knee for. I don't care how much they want to do that. It's your job to make sure you don't disrespect the massive percent of your audience. You have to protect us. And
he is their
we're
representative,
seeing
but what you're assuming is that the owners didn't have any input in what he's done over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He's their frontline representative, but
right.
he's taking orders, he's taking input from those guys.
Yeah. See,
so he's not acting on his own.
I thought he just read the cards on stage in the off season.
With the first pick of the first round, the Cleveland Browns select.
I thought that was the job, and it was like $50 million for that.
I
dude.
know. I could do that.
God, a private jet for life.
I'd do it for 10 an hour, man.
What? You even screw up half their names. What's the matter with you? Anyway.
Hey, the Hamlin Pub supports the Detroit Cast. Let's make it a point to support them with locations in Rochester Hills, Clarkston, Chesterfield, 2 in Shelby Township. You know there's one near you. The Hamlin Pubs have great food, ice-cold drinks, tons of craft beers, TVs, games, and great entertainment. Come on by or book your reservation today at hamlinpubs.com.
Before we get to email really quick, I'll save the Simpson story for tomorrow.
Simpson?
We don't have time, but I did mention Gaydar.
Yeah.
The founder of Gaydar, which is a massive dating site, fell to his death over the weekend. 23 stories off a roof.
Fell.
From a hotel. Yeah, well.
Or leapt.
Yeah. It's the world's same way his boyfriend died 10 years ago.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, it's the world's biggest online gay dating site. 23 floors, yeah. Henry Badenhorst was his name. Crashed through a glass canopy and landed on top of a waiting limousine.
Ah.
Nice. Just blasted through the windshield or the back window of that. Dude, you know how easy it would have been to kill someone doing that?
Sure.
Holy shit. At the Michelangelo Towers Hotel, which is in South Africa, in Johannesburg. Comes 10 years after his partner Gary Fritsch died in a fall off a balcony of a building in South London. Now, I think he was partying and taking ketamine. which is that the horse tranquilizer E?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was taking cat, and then he just kind of fell over the balcony. And this guy apparently never got over that, suffered from depression and blah, blah, blah. And, he checked into this place, this exclusive hotel. This is where Obama and Oprah and these types of people stay. He checked in for one night only and then went up to his 23rd floor. And, yeah. So, yeah.
So you still going to remain on that website, E, or
taking a knee on that one?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna erase it from my phone now because of this.
What's the deal? Grindr is the Tinder type thing.
Yeah, I've never heard of gay.
Honestly, gaydar, like I've heard that concept,
Oh, of
that
course,
phrase.
yeah.
Use your gaydar.
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of the website.
Yeah, I hadn't either, to be honest with you. Apparently, it has 6 million members and is in 140
But see,
countries.
I wonder if that's more of a real dating website than a just because Tinder and Grindr are just literally face right.
Who wants
left.
to bang?
Right.
You want to get together and bang?
Yeah.
Hookup app.
Yeah, totally a hookup app. I think gaydar is about finding someone relationship, farmersonly.com or something. So yeah, they're expanding too. They've got gaydar girls coming as well.
Oh, good.
So gay chicks, heads up for that. Why don't we get some email, Jay?
We do have some email.
What do we got?
James writes in regarding JPC 4th. Now, sometimes this happens where they'll hear an email from the day before or 2 days before, and somebody attacks the emailer. I think in this case it's unfounded. I think JPC 4th is a good man. But James writes in, this guy's a clown. The John Denver episode was one of the greatest of all time.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, James. Or Jim, as it were. The
We
Jimmer.
didn't need it, but
call you
we'll
the
take
Jimmer.
it. Sure.
JPC 4th, come on, man. Ah, well. What do you expect from a comic book homo? Bye and ciao, King. Oh, man.
We didn't need it, but we'll take it.
Attack JPC 4th like that.
Yeah,
Bet gun to his head, I bet JPC 4th admits it was a pretty damn good episode.
Yeah, it really was. Why are there
So many
songs about rainbows?
Connor writes in, hey, Jay and Mike, I was catching up on
Boner. Hi,
member
Boner.
content, and Mike was talking about Beth reaching over and honking his horn at a motorist that had pissed her off. So the concept is Mike's driving along, motorist cuts Mike off, and he's like, fuck, Beth reaches over and honks, now I'm the bad guy, right?
Yeah,
and I'm the guy who's going to take the brunt of that.
Yeah, I'm the one that's got to fight.
Yeah, so
No
I
one's
said,
going to her door.
Jay said that was like Beth running from the house to the barn under heavy gunfire and holding Mike in front of her as a human shield. I'd like to take a moment to point out how ridiculous that concept is. There is no way, that Beth would be able to lift Mike, let alone run with him, once said lifting had taken place. A more accurate depiction would be if Beth were to roll Mike in front of her as a human shield. I don't get it. Is that... Oh, that was a fat joke.
Man, I have to say, all I got out of that was a great commercial for the members area because I don't even remember that. So there's a lot of shit in there, dude. Like, for real, if you were to just join and start getting the extra content, man, if you were on a road trip or something.
Hours and hours.
Hours and
Weeks
hours,
of
dude.
content in there is the point. Yeah, go to DetroitCast.com. There you will find a tab, Members Area, and there should be a membership level that suits everyone.
Yep.
Don writes in concerning EDC homo bar crashers, Saint and Sinner, and Tough Guy. I can totally understand why a country bar was stopping Big E's dance queens from entering the bar. They don't want them there and used any excuse to keep them out. All you need is a loudmouth dancing queen and a drunk hillbilly to start shit with each other, and now the cops are called.
Yep.
Or in this case, the cop would have to stop drinking and arrest Team Homo.
True.
I do understand Mike's beef about not allowing hats, but dance dorks is where I draw the line on my dive bars. Okay, I have to work, unlike Big E. Good day. I said good day.
What a ridiculous remark. You know what? I love country music a lot, and I'm sorry, but the reality is country redneck hillbillies are the worst. It's the notion that they couldn't sit there.
Seabass sort of guy.
The notion that they couldn't sit there and just be okay with some people dressed a little different. Dude, we were literally all there to have fun, have a few beers, and listen to some country music, and whatever.
The emailer's probably right in some respect that, we've seen this play out before, and the last thing we need is
I can tell you'd be on the other end.
Well, okay, maybe so, but, this is their normal bar, and if pink hair comes walking in and starts dancing up close to you, and all of a sudden it gets into a kick his ass, Seabass, and the bar's going, we don't need it. We're a country bar. Keep these fucking dudes out of here. I mean, that there could be some legitimacy to that. Not that it's right.
You're right.
We should all get along, but
there is legitimacy to that. But
occasionally problems, especially when alcohol's involved.
Would you agree with Eddie?
I would agree with that. I've never seen any fight at any EDM festival I've gone to.
I didn't say the Turtle family was looking for shit that night. I didn't say that.
I wanted to still put that on the record.
Especially under the direction of one Big E.
Yeah.
The father figure.
The father image.
Image, no doubt. Derek writes in concerning E's country bar experience.
Oh, boy.
Dear Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa. The last one is Mike. Do you get it? Because he's fat. I'm just reading it.
Yeah.
Do you know who Pumbaa is?
No.
He's like a little warthog. He's a cute.
He's got the nails coming out of his nose.
Yeah,
right?
he's got them right out.
Yeah, I like that guy.
He was funny as hell, man.
He was. Him and Timon.
Right.
They play off each other
We have
like
a lot in common.
the skinny guy and the fat guy duo, you know.
They actually had their own show for a little bit. Timon and Pumbaa.
Look at Pumbaa.
Yep.
He's a good guy.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
He is the chubbiest of the bunch, though.
Right.
As Derek points out. If I had known E was heading to Orlando this weekend, says Derek, I could have suggested some great spots to check out in the downtown area. I've been making the trip every year for the last 10 years in conjunction with the MLB spring training in late February/early March. The group of us has been going to Orlando and hooked up with folks native to the area, so we've really gotten to know the good, the bad, and the fugly. If E and his Turtle family got kicked out of Cowboys, they seriously missed out. Was it Cowboys, E?
That actually is where we got kicked out of.
Oof.
There is explanations to all of this. Let him finish.
No, go ahead.
Well, for one, I didn't have that much time. I would have way rather gone to downtown Orlando and hit those bars. There was a ton of bar scenes, and when I went out Thursday with the listener, we did hit a few of that stuff. But as I explained, one of our kids could not get into a 21 and up bars, so we had to go to places that were allowed. And then I
was just gonna let it go.
Well, whatever. And then the other thing is this festival ends so late at night. You know, it ends at midnight. By the time you're out there, it's 12:30. And so the places that you can get to we only went to this place because it was very close to the after party, and we just wanted a place to go have a few beers before this after party started. And I wanted to hear some country music. So it wasn't really like because I didn't know where cool places were or could go down. Dude, if I could take 4 or 5 days off and go down there and have a few nights just to hit Orlando, I would love to do stuff like that. But I just didn't have the time for that.
It's probably like the worst spectacle, disaster at any event I can think of.
Derek continues. That is a great bar, Cowboys. Out of our group, only one guy really likes country music, but we make a point of going to that bar every year. Yes, there is a dress code, and this past year, one newcomer to the group got busted for it. He dresses like a slob, gym shorts and flip-flops all the time. The dress code is pretty tame.
Yep.
We went to a Walmart, got him dress code-approved clothing. The reason for the dress code is gang activity. But the main reason we go to that bar is on Saturday nights. It is a $16 cover charge, ladies 11, and you can drink beer free from 10 to 1.
Wow.
Yes,
Damn it.
You read that right.
Yeah.
Free beer. You walk in, get a stamp, and go to the bar. They give you a bottle. You're supposed to tip, by the way.
Right. I tip.
Would you have known that? You'd be like, fuck,
no,
I paid the fucking
I'm in a bar.
$16.
I'm in a bar.
I get free beers.
In a bar, I would have still tipped.
Then it's not free.
Even though you're not handing over money for said beer, they're handing you a full beer. You could easily just turn around and walk away. You don't even have to reach your wallet.
I don't know. We got there past. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever you guys think, I guess.
I'm presenting you
with
that
hypothetical. I said I would have, and you said I wouldn't have. So I don't know what you want to tell you.
I find it hard to believe he would. I find it real hard to believe he would.
I don't think he would tip for all of them.
You guys are fucking so dumb and so wrong.
I don't.
It's okay. Jay sits here and babbles on about the big dick thing, and Mike gets, people call me fat. And you know what? One time in a situation where I still don't think it's a bar, I don't tip an extra $2. And this notion that I don't tip is so ridiculous. And I am cheap because I am cheap because I don't have a lot of money. But you know what? I do.
You have enough money to tip at a bar.
I tip at bars.
You have enough
money.
We pay you under your independent contract enough money that you can tip every waitress and bartender in town.
I tip every bartender.
Except for the time you got called out by a listener who was the bartender.
Not a bartender.
And
I tipped her. That's weird. I tipped her.
You motherfucker.
I tipped the shit out of her.
That's a difference, dude. You can't tell.
It was a fucking bar.
No.
It had stools.
But in my mind, it wasn't a bar. bar. No.
There were
But
bartenders. Taps.
You're such a fucking. Both of you are such fucking asshole
No,
dicks.
you're
dude.
a fucking dick. You know why? Because you said 3 things that were true. He's got a huge dick. I'm fat, and you didn't tip at that bar. So that's where
It wasn't
started.
a bar. But the thing is, in my head,
It
that's
was to
not
a
a bar.
bar.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. In my head, that's not a bar. That's the only place you'll never get a story from me not tipping at a different place.
In your head, it wasn't a bar.
It doesn't matter.
Fuck, dude.
Fuck you.
Derek continues. You walk in, you get a stamp, and you go to the bar. They give you a bottle. You're supposed to tip, by the way. Then for the rest of the night until 1 a.m. I didn't.
Yeah, it's okay. Continue.
And for the rest of the night until 1 a.m., you turn in and empty and get another bottle. It's that simple. No limit. It's awesome. One year, we knew a couple of bartenders, and it happened to be my birthday. So I was the special guest judge of the Miss Rocky Mountains contest.
Whoa.
I was pissed drunk and had a great time. At the end
Rocky
of the
Mountains
night,
are titties. E. That's what he's
I don't-
talking
okay,
about. That's the
good.
contest.
Good to know.
result.
Thank you.
At the end of the night, one of the bartenders gave me a mat shot, M-A-T shot. I didn't know what it was until after. It tasted interesting. I won't explain what it is, but if only there was someone there with a Bing machine.
Not looking
Matt
that up,
shot.
so don't worry.
Boy, is he in a stew. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Stu's
because it's
ready to
unreal.
eat,
It's
too.
unreal how you guys.
This is no way to finish a show, is it,
Yeah,
Mike?
well,
Nope.
Thought he was more professional than this.
I'm not.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Matt shot. Oh, boy.
What's in this? It's probably got cum in it.
Oh, no. This is not good, dude. A mat shot. Oh, no. It's where the bartender grabs a shot glass, picks up the bar service spill mat in front of them, and pours the entire liquid contents from the mat into the glass. Usually given free of charge or given to customers asking what their cheapest drink was.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yep. That's not good.
Jug writes in with a quick grievance. Sparty, Magic Mike, and Candy Raver. I have a quick grievance to air. There's no clock needed. This is quick. I saw a gentleman with a robotics high school varsity jacket. Unacceptable.
Yes.
Everyone should just get varsity jackets, I guess, in this world we live in now. Later, potato chips, Jug.
Bonafide. I've had this grievance since my high school days,
Robotics team. What that? I don't even know what that is.
It's a team where people build
Nerd out?
robotics. Yeah, dude. You know, I've never really thought varsity jackets were that exclusive. You know, I just kind of felt like,
I did. I thought you had to be in a sport.
Yeah, totally. Totally. You got to earn your varsity letter, but so many people do so many different things. It's like, I feel like anybody who wants one can get one, and so I just I don't even really flinch at them.
I mean, does the debate team get a jacket? I mean, they're
probably if they want
competitively
it.
going against another school.
There's academic
There's
letters.
academic
Like
letters.
if people really want a letter jacket, they can go get it, and it's always been that way.
Really?
I remember getting an academic letter with a little lamp of learning on it.
Really?
Yeah.
For what? What did you
Academics.
nerd? Really? You were that big of a nerd that you got one of those?
Yeah,
Good for
mean
you.
to be.
I didn't get one of those. I wonder why. Never
weird.
saw that. They just gave me the letter. You know, that mine didn't have a lamp or learning or anything on it.
I'm just happy letter jackets are back in full force because there was a period where they definitely waned, and I think they're cool.
Well, it was tough when you had those years where it was like 0-0 or 0-1 on the shoulder. I don't know that I would have wanted to get one of those either.
What?
You know, it's just weird. It was weird seeing 0-0.
I have a 0-3.
That's weird. I wouldn't have gotten that.
I will say, though, that has been seriously a grievance of mine since high school. I remember just thinking, I got one for cross country, and technically I could have got a tennis one on there, but I didn't pay the money to get like the patch
Was
or
it
whatever.
you and McQueen who were the doubles team?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Chris
McQueen.
But even back in high school, dude, I thought that I remember the cheerleading. The notion of getting
Cheerleaders shouldn't get a. Are you fucking kidding me?
Not a sport. It should only go to sports. Cheerleading is not a sport. It's very athletic. It's hard to do.
Dude, I guess you're right. I mean, if you take it out of the realm of on-field sports
I
or
think that it's-
on-court sports,
right.
and you go to cheerleading, then you do have to give it to anybody, you know?
But those chicks work their asses off.
A lot of people work their asses off, though. I have the.
But
they tend to be the
athletically
hotter
speaking,
chicks in school.
Yeah,
I know,
but athletically speaking, they do. I
Yeah.
mean, they're
but
doing
it's not
like
a sport. That's my thing, though. I
well, they
I know people will hate
ESPN would
this.
differ. They have their
Yeah, well, they
cheerleading
have-
competitions.
Yeah, well, I've seen rock paper scissors on ESPN.
Here's my
point.
question. Like, fundamentally, if you went back 150 years to the beginning of letters being given,
Right.
were they only given to sports or were they given to activities?
That would be a good question.
that would answer it, right?
Yeah.
Because our perception is, it's sports, but
You're
maybe
right.
not.
Then in the 50s, you know, when they first really started, were people giving them away for I mean, he wouldn't have had robotics, but band and academic, and I bet cheerleaders did. I
Probably.
guess
That back then though was just like
I'll bet it was
track and
debate.
field.
I bet it was debate team. I
Probably
bet it was
track
all
and
that
field
shit.
and debate. Track and field would have been the big sport back then.
Yeah.
Like people.
I
wouldn't
guess
have-
that's a good question. I always just assumed that what happened was as the '90s went on,
A lot of
they
assumption
just started
goes on in that corner, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did too. I mean, you just in this one, didn't you?
No. I always said, dude. I always felt like if you wanted a letter, you'd get it. Oh, you know.
The problem with him assuming it makes
an
ass out of you and me.
Okay.
Save the rest for tomorrow.
When you guys had a pizza party at the end of the year, did you guys tip your waitresses? I mean, like the track team, you guys obviously went for pizza.
Save the rest for tomorrow.
All right. On that note, we'll call it a day. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.